Long ago, the blue planet called Earth was silenced. It was not destroyed in a single day, nor in a single battle. No, it was broken slowly, piece by piece. Alien fleets came without warning. They rained fire from the sky, turning cities into ash. Forests burned. Oceans boiled. The air was filled with smoke, and the cries of billions went unanswered. Humanity, once proud, once hopeful, was crushed under the weight of alien power. And then, silence. The stars above Earth grew cold, and the planet itself became nothing but a scar in the galaxy's memory. The alien empires laughed. They told their children. Humans were weak. They thought they were strong, but they were nothing. They told their soldiers, "Do not fear humans. They are gone. They are dust." For centuries, these words echoed across the stars. The galaxy believed them. The galaxy forgot Earth. But the truth was different. Not everyone was gone. In the ruins of forgotten colonies, where burned cities still floated in orbit, some humans survived. Children, hidden in underground shelters. Families who escaped in broken ships. Soldiers who refused to surrender and vanished into the dark. They were too few to rebuild, but too stubborn to die. They carried the fire of Earth inside them. Every day was a struggle for food, air, and water. Every night was haunted by memories of screams and fire. And yet, they lived. Generations passed. The survivors raised their children with stories of Earth not as a place of weakness, but as a home stolen from them. They told their sons and daughters, "Never forget who we are. Never forgive what they did." These children grew into something different. They were no longer soft like the humans the galaxy once mocked. They were sharpened by pain, hardened by loss, and united by one thought. One day, the debt will be repaid. The galaxy did not know they existed. The alien empires believed humanity was gone forever. But deep in the shadows of dead worlds, in broken space stations and forgotten moons, the last children of Earth prepared. They learned to fight in silence. They learned to build weapons from scraps. They learned to strike without mercy. And most of all, they learned patience. For centuries, they watched the galaxy. They saw empires rise and fall. They listened as aliens still laughed about Earth, calling it weak, calling it foolish. The children of Earth listened and remembered. Then, in one quiet corner of the galaxy, the silence was broken. An alien ship went missing. Then another. At first, no one cared. Pirates, perhaps. Accidents, maybe. But then survivors returned, terrified, whispering the same words again and again. They looked human. But they were not like the humans we knew. They were stronger. Faster. Their eyes were fire. The rulers of the galaxy dismissed it. Impossible, they said. Humans are gone. But deep inside, fear began to spread. Because everyone knew the truth. If even a handful of humans had survived, they would never forgive. They would never stop. They would never rest. The last children of Earth carried more than just survival. They carried vengeance. They carried the weight of every burned city, every dead family, every insult thrown at their people. And now, after centuries of silence, they were ready. The galaxy did not know it yet. But soon, they would be reminded of something they had all forgotten. Humans do not stay down. Humans rise. And when they rise, the stars themselves tremble. The forgotten world of Earth was not truly dead. It was waiting. And the ones who carried its memory were already moving, already watching, already planning. The children of Earth had been patient long enough. Now, the galaxy would learn fear again. The galaxy is a noisy place. Ships travel between stars every day. Empires fight, trade, and argue. Rumors spread like fire in empty space. Most rumors die quickly. But sometimes, a whisper becomes too sharp to ignore. It began with a single fleet. The Van Dominion, a proud empire with thousands of ships, sent a fleet into a quiet sector, a place filled with broken human colonies. They went there to search for resources, maybe even old human relics they could sell for profit. The fleet entered the ruins. But it never came back. At first, no one cared. Fleets go missing all the time. Space is dangerous, full of pirates and storms. But then, the second fleet vanished. Then a third. And then came the survivors. Small escape pods drifted into trade routes. Alien traders pulled them aboard, curious. What they heard made their blood turn cold. The survivors whispered the same story again and again. They came out of the dark. Ships with no signal, no lights. We thought they were ghosts. But then we saw them, humans. They looked human, but different. Stronger. Faster. Their voices were full of fire. They destroyed everything. They gave no warning, no mercy. Only one message: the children of Earth have returned. The galaxy laughed at first. Alien rulers called it nonsense. Humans are gone. Only cowards and ghosts speak of them. But the whispers did not stop. On mining stations, workers spoke in hushed tones. Did you hear? The humans are back. In alien markets, traders told each other. Don't go near the human graveyards. Their shadows are alive. In the Great Council Hall, some rulers began to fear. They remembered the wars of long ago, when human armies fought like demons. They remembered the planets where human soldiers stood against impossible odds and still did not surrender. But others laughed, pretending not to be afraid. They are myths. Just stories. Humans were weak. That is why they are gone. Yet deep inside, even the proudest rulers felt a chill. Because everyone in the galaxy knew one truth. If humans survived, even a handful, they would never forget. They would never forgive. The whispers grew louder. An empire on the edge of the galaxy reported that its patrols were ambushed. The attackers were human. The soldiers swore the truth. They were fast. Too fast. Their ships moved like shadows. They spoke one sentence before they killed us: the debt will be repaid. The words spread like poison. The galaxy began to tremble. Merchants changed their routes, avoiding old human sectors. Soldiers refused to patrol those regions. Children in alien schools whispered human legends at night, too afraid to sleep. And then, the first broadcast came. Across the galaxy, screens flickered. Communication channels cracked. A single voice echoed through every empire, every ship, every home. It was human. Calm. Cold. Unforgiving. We are the last children of Earth. You thought we were gone. You thought wrong. You took our world. You burned our families. You laughed while we died. Now, we laugh while you tremble. The debt will be repaid. Every empire. Every ruler. Every world. Remember us. Fear us. Because we are coming. The broadcast ended in silence. No empire admitted fear. But fleets moved. Armies were prepared. Borders were closed. Every ruler gave the same order: if humans are real, find them and kill them before it is too late. But it was already too late. Because the children of Earth had been waiting for centuries. They were no longer hiding. They were hunting. And wherever they went, whispers followed. Whispers that turned into terror. Whispers that became truth. The galaxy thought humanity was finished. But now, it was beginning to understand a new truth. Humanity was patient. Humanity was watching. And humanity was angry. The whispers in the dark were not just stories. They were warnings. And soon, the galaxy would realize that whispers can become screams. The galaxy is a noisy place. Ships travel between stars every day. Empires fight, trade, and argue. Rumors spread like fire in empty space. Most rumors die quickly. But sometimes, a whisper becomes too sharp to ignore. It began with a single fleet. The Van Dominion, a proud empire with thousands of ships, sent a fleet into a quiet sector, a place filled with broken human colonies. They went there to search for resources, maybe even old human relics they could sell for profit. The fleet entered the ruins. But it never came back. At first, no one cared. Fleets go missing all the time. Space is dangerous, full of pirates and storms. But then, the second fleet vanished. Then a third. And then came the survivors. Small escape pods drifted into trade routes. Alien traders pulled them aboard, curious. What they heard made their blood turn cold. The survivors whispered the same story again and again. They came out of the dark. Ships with no signal, no lights. We thought they were ghosts. But then we saw them, humans. They looked human, but different. Stronger. Faster. Their voices were full of fire. They destroyed everything. They gave no warning, no mercy. Only one message: the children of Earth have returned. The galaxy laughed at first. Alien rulers called it nonsense. Humans are gone. Only cowards and ghosts speak of them. But the whispers did not stop. On mining stations, workers spoke in hushed tones. Did you hear? The humans are back. In alien markets, traders told each other, don't go near the human graveyards. Their shadows are alive. In the Great Council Hall, some rulers began to fear. They remembered the wars of long ago, when human armies fought like demons. They remembered the planets where human soldiers stood against impossible odds and still did not surrender. But others laughed, pretending not to be afraid. They are myths. Just stories. Humans were weak. That is why they are gone. Yet deep inside, even the proudest rulers felt a chill. Because everyone in the galaxy knew one truth. If humans survived, even a handful, they would never forget. They would never forgive. The whispers grew louder. An empire on the edge of the galaxy reported that its patrols were ambushed. The attackers were human. The soldiers swore the truth. They were fast. Too fast. Their ships moved like shadows. They spoke one sentence before they killed us: the debt will be repaid. The words spread like poison. The galaxy began to tremble. Merchants changed their routes, avoiding old human sectors. Soldiers refused to patrol those regions. Children in alien schools whispered human legends at night, too afraid to sleep. And then, the first broadcast came. Across the galaxy, screens flickered. Communication channels cracked. A single voice echoed through every empire, every ship, every home. It was human. Calm. Cold. Unforgiving. We are the last children of Earth. You thought we were gone. You thought wrong. You took our world. You burned our families. You laughed while we died. Now, we laugh while you tremble. The debt will be repaid. Every empire. Every ruler. Every world. Remember us. Fear us. Because we are coming. The broadcast ended in silence. No empire admitted fear. But fleets moved. Armies were prepared. Borders were closed. Every ruler gave the same order: if humans are real, find them and kill them before it is too late. But it was already too late. Because the children of Earth had been waiting for centuries. They were no longer hiding. They were hunting. And wherever they went, whispers followed. Whispers that turned into terror. Whispers that became truth. The galaxy thought humanity was finished. But now, it was beginning to understand a new truth. Humanity was patient. Humanity was watching. And humanity was angry. The whispers in the dark were not just stories. They were warnings. And soon, the galaxy would realize that whispers can become screams. The galaxy thought the whispers were just rumors. But rumors are born from truth. And soon, the truth arrived with fire. It began on the edge of the Zorath Empire. The Zorath were powerful, proud, and arrogant. They had mocked humans for centuries. Their history books told stories of how their fleets had crushed Earth. Their soldiers wore medals carved from human ruins. They believed themselves untouchable. So when strange reports of human attacks reached their council, they laughed. Humans are dead. These are pirates, nothing more. The Emperor of Zorath sent a fleet to investigate. Not a small fleet, a massive one. Hundreds of warships, armed with the strongest weapons they had. The fleet entered the human graveyard sector. Their scanners found nothing. The stars were silent. The commanders grew careless. They mocked the very idea of human survivors. Ghost stories, they said. But then, the lights went out. One by one, Zorath ships lost their power. Their sensors went black. Their weapons froze. Panic filled the fleet. Then, from the darkness, shapes appeared. Silent ships, sleek and fast, sliding out of the void. No lights. No signals. Only shadows with teeth. The first strike came without warning. A single human ship moved through the Zorath lines, firing with precision. Its weapons tore through armor as if it were paper. Entire warships exploded before they could even return fire. The Zorath panicked. They tried to regroup, but the humans were faster. Their ships moved like hunters, circling prey. Every shot counted. Every attack was brutal. In less than 1 hour, a fleet of hundreds was burning. The surviving Zorath screamed across their channels. They are human. They are human. But the humans gave no mercy. No answer. Only silence, and fire. When the battle was finished, only one Zorath ship remained. Its hull was torn, its engines broken, its crew half dead. As it drifted, a message appeared on its screen. A human face. Pale, scarred, and unyielding. The eyes burned like fire. The voice spoke slowly, coldly. We are the last children of Earth. You thought us gone. You were wrong. This is the first strike. For every city you burned, we will burn 10. For every human you killed, we will take 100 of yours. The debt will be repaid. Remember our words. Then the transmission ended. The survivors were allowed to live. Not out of mercy, but as messengers. They were released, their broken ship pushed back into space, so they could crawl home and spread the story. And spread it they did. When the Zorath Emperor heard the tale, his blood turned cold. For the first time in generations, he felt fear. He tried to silence the survivors. He ordered them executed. But it was too late. The story had already escaped. Traders carried it to other empires. Soldiers whispered it in their barracks. Children repeated it in schools. The first strike had become legend overnight. The galaxy had laughed at the whispers. But no one laughed now. The council met in secret. Alien rulers argued, their voices shaking. Some demanded all fleets unite against humanity. Others whispered the unthinkable, perhaps we should make peace. But none agreed on what to do. Because no one knew how many humans remained. Were there hundreds? Thousands? Millions? No one could answer. And worse, no one knew where they would strike next. The humans had become shadows. Ghosts with teeth. They attacked with precision, disappeared into darkness, and left only ruins behind. The first strike had changed everything. The galaxy had believed humanity was dead. Now, it understood the truth. Humanity had only been sleeping. Waiting. Preparing. And now, the children of Earth had risen. They had struck once. They would strike again. The galaxy trembled. The Great Council Hall had stood for thousands of years. It was a place of power, filled with shining glass, silver pillars, and banners of 100 empires. Decisions made here shaped the galaxy itself. Wars had been started in this room. Peace had been signed here. Entire civilizations had been born and destroyed by the words spoken inside these walls. But now, the rulers who filled the chamber were not proud. They were afraid. The council leader, a towering reptilian with scales like stone, slammed his claws against the table. Order, he shouted. We will have order. But there was no order. The hall shook with voices of panic. They are striking our borders. They are burning colonies. They are destroying fleets. The word passed from one ruler to another like poison. Humans. One insectoid queen hissed, her wings trembling. You told us they were gone. You promised Earth was finish. A pale, four-eyed emperor snarled in return. We all believed it. We all saw Earth burn. But a smaller voice rose from the crowd. It belonged to an elder whose empire had fought humans long ago. His eyes were wide with fear. You saw Earth burn, he said, his voice breaking. But you did not see the humans die. That was your mistake. The hall went silent. Everyone remembered the old wars. They remembered how human soldiers fought. How they bled, but never surrendered. How even when beaten, they still found a way to strike back. Now, those memories returned like ghosts. The council leader spoke again, his voice shaking this time. How many are there? How large is their fleet? No one answered. No one knew. Reports flooded in every day, fleets destroyed, outposts gone, colonies turned to ash. But no pattern showed their numbers. Some survivors swore there were only hundreds. Others said millions. Some claimed they had seen impossible weapons, ships that bent light, soldiers who moved faster than thought. The truth was simple and terrifying. No one knew how strong the humans were. An avian ruler flapped his wings nervously. We must unite. Gather every fleet. Crush them before they grow stronger. But another ruler shouted back, what if we already cannot crush them? What if they are stronger than all of us? The council broke into chaos again. Some demanded war. Some demanded peace. Some demanded to hide, to close their borders and pray the humans would not find them. But then, in the middle of the shouting, every screen in the chamber flickered. The lights dimmed. The glass walls shook. A sound filled the hall, not music, not static, but a voice. A human voice. Cold. Calm. Unforgiving. We are the last children of Earth. You thought us weak. You thought us gone. But we remember. We remember every city you burned. Every child you killed. Every insult you spoke. We carry those memories in our blood. The rulers froze. None dared to move. You sit in your halls of glass and gold, thinking you are safe. You are not. Every empire that touched Earth will fall. Every ruler who laughed will scream. This is not war. This is debt. And debt must always be paid. The voice ended. The screens went black. For a long time, there was only silence. Then the council leader spoke, his voice trembling. They know we are here. They know everything. Another ruler whispered, they are watching us. Even now. Fear spread through the hall like a disease. The rulers who once mocked humanity now stared at each other with wide, terrified eyes. They understood what the whispers had meant. They understood what the first strike had proven. The humans were not fighting for power. They were not fighting for land. They were fighting for memory. And nothing in the galaxy could stop them. One elder spoke the truth aloud, his voice heavy with dread. This is not the rising of an army. This is the rising of a storm. And no storm can be stopped. No one argued. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's rulers felt true fear. And in the silence of that great hall, one thought echoed in every mind. The children of Earth had returned. And the galaxy would never be safe again. The galaxy had always believed its empires were eternal. The Zorath, the Varn, the Ketheri, each one had ruled for centuries. They had fleets so large they could cover the skies of entire worlds. They had armies so vast they could drown planets in fire. To outsiders, these empires looked unshakable. But when the children of Earth rose, the truth was revealed. Even the strongest empire can break. It began with the Varn Dominion. The Varn had once called humans vermin. They had led the fleets that bombed Earth, laughing as cities turned to ash. Now, their fleets patrolled their borders in fear. Every ship was on alert. Every planet was fortified. But it didn't matter. The humans did not attack where the Varn were strong. They struck where they were weak. They appeared without warning, destroying supply depots, shattering trade routes, burning colonies. Then they vanished before the Varn could even respond. The Varn Emperor screamed for answers. His admirals swore they would crush the humans. But each time they sent a fleet, it returned in pieces if it returned at all. One by one, their proud banners fell. The humans were not just soldiers. They were hunters. They studied every weakness, every blind spot, every mistake. They struck like knives in the dark. Entire Varn planets starved when the humans cut off their food routes. Cities collapsed into chaos when communication hubs were destroyed. Armies surrendered without a fight, terrified by the stories of what the humans had done to others. The Varn Dominion, once so mighty, began to rot from the inside. And they were not alone. The Ketheri Empire tried to resist. They launched massive fleets, screaming their defiance. But the humans fought differently. They refused to meet the Ketheri head-on. Instead, they bled them slowly, ambushing patrols, luring ships into traps, striking when least expected. The Ketheri fleets grew smaller every day. Their admirals stopped boasting. Their soldiers began to desert. In the shadows, the humans watched and waited. They had no need to rush. They knew time was on their side. Every victory made the galaxy weaker. Every defeat made the humans stronger. Captured aliens begged for mercy. They asked, "Why do you hate us so much? Why do you kill without pity?" The humans gave the same answer every time. "This is not hate. This is memory. This is the debt you owe." And then, silence followed. The galaxy began to understand something terrible. Humans were not trying to conquer. They were not building an empire of their own. They had no throne, no capital, no council. They had only one purpose: vengeance. That made them unstoppable. The rulers of the council whispered among themselves, too afraid to speak their fears aloud. What if the humans cannot be reasoned with? What if they will never stop? Already, some empires had collapsed. Worlds once filled with laughter and pride now lay silent, burned to ash. Fleets that had once covered the skies were nothing but wreckage drifting in the void. The storm of humanity spread, and no wall could hold it back. Every empire that had raised its hand against Earth now trembled, waiting for its turn. The galaxy had thought humanity was gone. But now, they realized the truth. Humanity was everywhere. In the shadows of dead systems. In the ruins of forgotten worlds. In the blood of every survivor who refused to die. And humanity was rising. The Van Dominion collapsed first. The Ketheri followed. Others knew they were next. The galaxy's proudest empires, broken one after another, until only fear remained. The children of Earth did not celebrate their victories. They did not cheer. They did not boast. They only moved forward, cold and silent. Because their work was not finished. The debt was not yet paid. The galaxy was breaking. The Van Dominion had fallen. The Ketheri Empire was in ruins. Worlds once filled with power and pride now lay silent, their skies burned, their fleets nothing but drifting wreckage. Everywhere, the same whispers filled the stars. The humans are coming. Merchants changed their routes. Soldiers refused their posts. Children in alien schools no longer laughed at the old stories of Earth, they cried at night, asking if the humans would come for them next. The Great Council gathered again, but there was no order left. The rulers screamed at each other, blaming one another for the disaster. Some demanded peace talks. Others demanded total war. Many simply begged for a miracle. But then, the miracle came. Or so they thought. A transmission appeared. Not from a single ship, not from a single world. It appeared everywhere, across every frequency, every empire, every screen. No one could block it. No one could stop it. The galaxy froze. On every screen, the same image appeared. A human face. Scarred. Hardened. Eyes filled with fire and memory. Not the face of a ruler, not the face of a conqueror, just a survivor. And yet, that face made entire empires tremble. The voice spoke. Calm. Steady. Cold. We are the last children of Earth. For centuries, you believed us gone. For centuries, you laughed at our silence. But silence is not death. Silence is patience. And patience always ends. The rulers of empires leaned forward in fear. Citizens across the galaxy held their breath. You thought the destruction of Earth erased us. You thought the fire had ended us. But fire does not end. Fire waits. And when it returns, it burns hotter than before. The voice paused, heavy with anger that felt older than time. We remember. Every planet that joined the fleets against us. Every soldier that raised a weapon against our people. Every ruler who mocked our pain. We remember. And we will not forgive. Gasps filled council chambers across the stars. In homes, citizens wept, some in guilt, others in terror. The human leaned closer to the screen, his voice dropping like a blade. Do not call this war. War is fought for power. For land. For greed. We do not want your thrones. We do not want your riches. We want only what is owed. This is not war. This is debt. Silence followed for a moment, heavy and crushing. Then the final words came, sharp as steel. The debt will be paid. Empire by empire. World by world. Until the galaxy remembers the name of Earth. And then, the transmission ended. But the silence that followed was worse than the message itself. On 1,000 worlds, people screamed in panic. Fleets scrambled to prepare. Armies mobilized, though their soldiers shook with fear. The council tried to calm the galaxy, but their words meant nothing. The humans had spoken, and their voice carried more weight than any empire. The message had not been a threat. It had been a promise. And every empire knew the promise would be kept. The last children of Earth did not need armies of millions. They did not need endless fleets. They only needed memory, and memory was sharper than any blade. The galaxy waited in terror. Every shadow in the stars looked like a human ship. Every flicker of light carried fear. Every silence carried the weight of footsteps approaching. The humans had given their last message. And now, everyone knew what came next. The end of empires. The collapse of rulers. The burning of the galaxy itself. Because when humans speak, they act. And when they act, nothing can stop them. The galaxy had always believed it understood fear. But it was wrong. True fear had only just begun. The galaxy held its breath. After the message, no world slept, no ruler felt safe, no soldier felt brave. Armies stood ready, fleets filled the stars, but in their hearts, they already knew, nothing could stop the children of Earth. And then, it began. On the edges of the galaxy, the stars themselves seemed to darken. Massive shadows appeared in deep space. First, one. Then another. Then dozens. They were ships, human ships. Not like the clumsy warships of alien empires. Not like the proud fleets of the Council. These ships were silent, sharp, and endless. They carried no banners, no colors, no symbols. Only black metal that drank the light around it. When the first world saw them, it screamed. When the second world saw them, it begged. By the third world, begging stopped. Everyone understood begging was useless. The humans moved with perfect precision. No speeches, no delays, no hesitation. When they entered a system, the fleets that resisted were crushed in minutes. Planets that tried to hide were found. Those who had joined in Earth's destruction were wiped away without mercy. And everywhere, the same cold truth spread. The debt is being collected. The galaxy watched in terror as entire empires collapsed one after another. The proud Ketheri fleets burned in silence. The merchant guilds that had once laughed at Earth vanished into ruin. Even the mighty Van Dominion, feared for centuries, fell like paper before fire. But the most terrifying thing was not the destruction. It was the silence. The humans never celebrated. They never boasted. They never even raised their voices. They came. They destroyed. They moved on. It was not war. It was judgment. In the great council hall, the rulers could no longer meet each other's eyes. Their walls shook with fear. Some spoke of surrender, others of hiding, but deep inside, they all knew the truth. There was no hiding from memory. And memory was what fueled the last children of Earth. Stories spread faster than light. Whole cities that surrendered without firing a shot were spared. But cities that resisted, even for a moment, were turned to dust. The humans were not killing for pleasure. They were not killing at random. They were crossing names off a list, one by one. The galaxy soon realized something worse than fear. It realized there was nothing it could do. For the first time in history, empires stopped fighting each other. Rivals who had been enemies for centuries begged to join together. They swore unity, swore alliance, swore that together they would stand. But when the humans arrived, those alliances shattered like glass. No matter how many fleets gathered, no matter how many worlds resisted, the result was always the same. Silence. Ashes. Memory repaid. The rulers whispered in despair. How many humans are left? How many could there be? No one knew. Some said thousands. Others said millions. A few even said only a handful, commanding fleets of machines older than the empires themselves. The number did not matter. The fear did. One by one, the galaxy's brightest lights went out. Stars no longer shone over the worlds that betrayed Earth. Cities of glass and stone fell into shadows. The old laughter, the old arrogance, was gone. And at last, the galaxy understood. It had always believed it knew fear, fear of monsters, fear of war, fear of death. But those fears were small. Childish. Nothing compared to the fear of silence in the dark, knowing somewhere out there, humans were waiting. And when they came, nothing could stand. In the end, no empire was left untouched. No world felt safe. And every child, no matter what species, grew up with a new story whispered at night. Do not wake the humans. Do not mock their pain. Do not forget their name. Because the humans never forget. And the humans always repay. The galaxy had laughed once. The galaxy had mocked once. But never again. For now, and for all time, the galaxy would tremble at the memory of Earth. The last children had risen. And the galaxy had learned fear once more.